brilliant kid. A little bit like the Matt Damon character in Good Will Hunting. I was working class kid. I didn't have a lot of polish, but I had real sharp smarts. My life took a various turn. I was a father at 18 and at 19 and at 21 and dropped out of college and whatnot. I bounced around community college, got discovered like Matt Damon in the movie. Ended up at Northwestern University where I was a wizard. I was taking the PhD level courses in these technical subjects and acing them. Went to MIT, where I was at the top of my class. Again, forgive this, but I want you to try to understand the point. So my genius, yes, I said it, my gift, my extraordinary abilities were what carried me forward, notwithstanding the vicissitudes of racism and discrimination in America. To have that minimized by somebody presuming that, oh, you didn't get to MIT without affirmative action. And it's actually true. I didn't get to MIT without affirmative action because every Black person is going to be the beneficiary of affirmative action, whether they ask for it, need it, or not. MIT had 3 positions set aside in its entering class, and those 3 were to be Black students of the greatest promise. I was one of them in the year that I came in, even though I didn't need to be in that box in order to get in because I had A's in everything. In the PhD level courses I was taking at Northwestern, my professors were writing letters saying that I was the best student they'd ever seen because I was. Again, I ask for your forbearance as I toot my own horn here. God damn it. Don't dishonor my amazing achievement by chalking it up to favoritism. I resent it. I don't like it. I don't need it. I don't want it. That's not a political position. I'm defending my own dignity here. So you're going to call me a sellout because I'm defending my dignity? F you. I mean, please, will you get your hands off of my dignity? Let me succeed or fail based upon my abilities. Don't patronize me, goddammit.
Let me succeed or fail on my own abilities. Welcome, everyone. It's Talks with Ken here today. We're going to be talking about affirmative action yet again. I know, beating a dead horse here, but it seems this DEI don't want to die. And the pressure has to we got to keep going with the pressure. As you saw from the intro, that was Glenn Laurel. I always mispronounce his last name. Please forgive me if I did. And he kind of encapsulated everything that I said about racial preferences. Affirmative action is racism under new management. And the racism this time is a condescending one. Oh, you couldn't get to this school without our help. You couldn't do this without our help. You would have never been successful if it wasn't for our affirmative action. If it wasn't for us giving you racial preferences, you would not be here. Essentially, that is what affirmative action is saying passively. And as a Black conservative, whenever I challenge that, when I say affirmative action is racist, affirmative action is wrong, I get a lot of Black, can I say it, coons in my comment section defending affirmative action and saying, no, we need this. We wouldn't be here without it. And I want to highlight some things that is historically accurate. Black people were graduating college without affirmative action. Yes, you heard that right. W.E. Du Bois was the first Black man to graduate from Harvard. Now it's one generation removed from slavery. Affirmative action didn't exist then. Martin Luther King was the 3rd generation college graduate in his family. That means Martin Luther King's grandfather graduated college, dad graduated college, and then himself graduated college. There was more Black people graduating from college than there are today in modern history, when we face less racism than they did. Imagine that. But we need affirmative action. Now I'm starting to get heated. And this is right. This is a correct assessment by Glenn. Let me succeed or fail based on my own abilities. This is a correct assessment. Because now a lot of these liberals, a lot of these Democrats, a lot of these progressives, if a Black person like myself, who's successful, 27 years old, right? Homeowner, married with 2 kids, if I brag about my success, the quickest thing they're going to say is, oh, you only got that because of affirmative action. If it wasn't for these policies, you would not be in the position to succeed, Kenny. And I say cap. Look at through all history. Black success has never been defined by the validation or acceptance of white people. It's never been. Look through history. And this is why I decided to do this video on the first day of supposed Black History Month. Because this shows a lot of Black people don't know history. They pretend they do. They only highlight certain things like slavery, but they don't look at the success and achievement of their people. That they faced the most racism, Yet they were the most academically successful, the most economically successful. You had ex-slaves dying millionaires, but people who never were slaves are crying about an economic inequality. Before I go into this next clip, because it seems affirmative action, DEI, it's just a means of using minorities as a pawn to gain control over institutions, right? I want to read this book, which is Economic Facts and Fallacies by Thomas Sowell. It's a great read, and I want to read an excerpt from it. Indeed, differences has been the norm, and identity, economic, or social outcomes has been rare to non-existent. And what I'm trying to impress upon you in this video is that expecting equal outcomes, similar outcomes, is a pipe dream. Because never in human history, go look it up, go throughout all of human history, there's never been a society where all the individuals had equal or similar outcomes. Never. So to pretend that the racial disparities proves racism is a lie. It's a lie in of its face. It's just a redefinition of words. That's all you're trying to do with racial disparities. This is why singling out any given group for comparison with the national average can be misleading if it suggests that the situation of the group in question is in particular rather than being part of a worldwide pattern of wide variations from group to group. Because not every group do the same actions. Not every group have the same culture. Not every group's culture incentivizes them to do behaviors that's economically beneficial for their group. Look at black people. Look at Asian people. Asian people love academics. They have a culture surrounded academics, pushing their kids to go to school, get PhDs. They spend time tutoring their kids. The Tiger Mom phenomenon. They're on their kids' butt. The stats out there that Asian students do more homework on average than other groups of people. But look at the black people. I bet if you study the black people, they're doing the exact opposite of the Asian people. Yet you expect black people to be just as representative in college as Asians in academia, Yale, Stanford, MIT. Like it baffles the mind that people who are doing different behaviors but expect the same outcome. That's a fallacy in and of itself, right? I just want to end it off with this. What reason is there to expect these groups to be the same in the first place? And this is the fallacy that I want to expose on the left. What expectation, where this expectation that everyone has to be the same, where it come from? I don't want to be the same as everyone else. The competitor in me wants to do better than everyone else. And all DEI is used to mask jealousy in a way. I think this is jealousy. Look, here's a clip I'm gonna show you just to give myself a break, and then we go into the switch up and start going more in on affirmative action DEI.
Might be a controversial take, but I'm seeing a lot of queer white people posting shit like posting themselves being really happy and doing some random shit and being like, yeah, our joy is resistance. And like, in my opinion, white people's joy is not resistance. Like, queer or not, your joy is not resistance. Matter of fact, your joy is what got us here in the first place. Like, your joy is why we're having to resist. And like, y'all putting yourselves and finding yourselves and like your own joy in front of everybody else is what got us here. Like, literally, I'm seeing so many white people right now going on like organizer retreats and posting about their joy and how awesome it was. Honestly, I want to see more of y'all like sitting your ass at home and giving your money to black and brown people so they can do that shit.
Yeah, the only explanation I can come with is just grievance. You want to find a reason to justify your jealousy, your envy, your hatred for other people because of their skin color. This is racism. DEI is racism. Right? I don't know what she is. That's why she's like racially ambiguous, but she sounds like she's a Hispanic of the Hispanic descent. She's here crying about, oh, white people are being happy. And she's saying that white people, because of your race, you have to give money to another group of people because of their race. Because by her view, she thinks they can't do it by their own efforts. You see the holding pattern here? It's learned helplessness. DEI foisted upon minorities learned helplessness. Oh, because of your skin color, you can't do something. That's a fixed mindset. And racism is been used as a means of fixing the mindsets of racial minorities throughout all of America. And in a multi-ethnic society, you cannot have ideas like this festering, because then you could cause what? race wars. Because in a multi-ethnic society like the United States, you have to have unifying ideas that goes beyond your skin color. So that means DEI have to die. It has to. For the future of this country, DEI has to die. For progress, DEI has to die. Because the people who suffered racism and all that stuff, they're not suffering at the same level as those in the past. If you were to ask me personally, because the reason I feel this way is because racism hasn't stopped me yet. I have this saying I always say, racism can't stop me, but my actions can. And people will get mad at that. Racism only accounts for 4% of my problems. Yes, 4%. You heard that right. Prove me wrong. Like the problem is that a lot of black people treat racism like a religion. That's what it is. They believe it exists, and that's what's holding them back. While I say it could exist, but it can't stop me. I frame it properly because I don't suffer from imagination. I suffer from reality. Show me the reality. Oh, Kenny, you're going to be pulled over by cops. I don't have a criminal record. I don't break laws. I'm not a reckless driver. Black people are prone to be. Here's a stat for you. Behavior. This is why I say behavior drives your outcomes, black people. Black people drive faster than other groups of people. So if I know this, hey, your racial group drives the car faster than other racial groups, who gonna get pulled over by cops more? Black people. But they can say, I'm driving while black, but you forget that you going 15 miles over the speed limit, but you driving while black. Okay. This is the problem with black people. This is the problem with a lot of minorities. They use their race as an alibi. They know they're doing behaviors that's breaking the law. And then when they get held accountable for doing it, they're going to say, oh, you pulled me over because of my skin color. This is what happens when you see color, because you use color to justify your actions. And this is what's going on. It seems like black people want positive racism. Black people want to be treated like handicapped children. They want special treatment based on their skin color. That's what it seems like black people and a lot of minorities want. Give me free money because I am a black and brown person. Implying that they're poor, they're too poor to do it for themselves. Implying that you need to give them something because they're a victim somehow, because they happen to be born in a certain skin color. How's that not privilege? And then you get all the fragile black people in my comment section calling me a sellout. I'm like, look at the first intro. 2 minutes of heat. You mad because I don't want special treatment. You mad because I want to succeed or fail on my own. You mad because I say racism can't stop me. And if I'm able to go out and prove to the world that racism has never stopped me, it can't stop me. Racism is not even a problem in my life. Then it removes all the excuses for you. And that's the real reality why a lot of black people don't want to let this racism thing die. Right? A lot of people like Emma X. Kendi make money out of this. Emma X. Kendi is not much different than a doctor who makes up a disease for an otherwise healthy person in order to profit off of it. That's the reality of a lot of you race hustlers. A lot of you black people that see racism. You woke black people. You Marxists. You progressives. That's the reality. You need this to exist, because if this doesn't exist, it destroys your whole worldview. It destroys your whole meaning for life, essentially. He knew that we Americans are fundamentally good people. We despise racists and seek real solutions for a better world. How's anti-racism real solutions? It's not. All you're doing is masking discrimination with discrimination. Reverse discrimination is discrimination. It has it in its name. So he and others create and perpetuate the disease of systematic racism to trap and confuse us. Yes, they want to color your lens in a color. This is what happens when you see color. Every bad obstacle, every bad outcome, you're going to say is because of systematic racism. Using your race as an alibi. This is the reality. Then he mandates the extremely profitable machinations of anti-racism as the cure. A cure that cures nothing but divides us Americans into racist and anti-racist box. That is us versus them mentality. That's what anti-racism is. Right? Here's 2022. Now we're going in on affirmative action. 52% of hiring managers believe that company practices reverse discrimination in hiring, aka 52% of hiring managers believe that their company practice discrimination in hiring. That's how the thing should read. 1 in 6 has been told to deprioritize hiring white men. The minute you add race into, hey, we should deprioritize hiring women. We should deprioritize hiring black men, black women, Hispanic men. Everyone will be like, that's racism. That's discrimination. But for some reason, when it's white men, oh, no, that's fine. Because the left, and I did a video on this already, the left has a bias against people who are perceived to have power and achievement and competency. That's why they're comfortable going after the Asians, right? 53 believe that they can be fired if they don't have enough diverse hires. That's an incentive. The incentive of what? Discrimination. This is racial quotas. 70% believe their company has a DEI initiative in for appearance sake. Right? We keep going. Mark Cuban was getting flack because Mark Cuban got called out for discriminatory practices, essentially, by the Equal Opportunities Equal Employment and Opportunities Commission after she weighed in. Race is part of the equation, never the deciding factor, which it shouldn't be. Right? Imagine someone say race is a factor for deciding whether we draft someone for the NBA. You know you're suffering quality for that, because the minute, hey, we got too many white guys, but the number one, the best player on the board available is a white guy, but we need a black player. Would that affect your vote? Yes, it will. It would affect you picking the player, the best player. You'll pick the black one, and then the white guy is out of a job because there's too many of them on the team, aka in the field, and that's essentially what we're doing in corporate America. Now imagine we did the reverse in the NBA. Black people will have a riot because black people love discrimination when it benefits them, but hate it when it doesn't. Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too, black people. You can't cry about racism and then participate in racism yourself. You look like a hypocrite. And this is the problem. This is the problem I'm calling out. And I'm not a sellout for calling it out. Because at the end of the day, black is not who I'm trying to be. Black is who I am, regardless if you agree with me or not. So you can't call me a sellout when I'm just holding you accountable. You can't push a message of unity, or we got to come together, we got to stop racism, but you yourself is participating in racism. You yourself is condoning racism. It makes no sense. This is why a lot of people are getting tired of the hate crime narratives, the DEI stuff, the racism claims, Jussie Smollett, because racism, the demand for it, there's not enough supply to meet it. And this is the reality. Yes, race and gender can be part of a factor. The Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits employment discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. And we know this happens because if you look at the recent hires for executive positions, it overrepresents. There's like 63% of the time it goes to a female, black, or minority person. And only 6% of those positions goes to white people. If you weren't hiring based, you see, that's proof that racial discrimination is happening, because white people make up 63% of the population. That means white people are supposed to get 63% of those positions, but they're not. 63% of those positions are going to non-minority people. But affirmative action isn't racism. Affirmative action isn't discrimination. It is. Look at the outcomes. Because you can say all the pretty words you want, but the actions you're doing is discrimination. And that's the truth. I went on a little rant there, but hey, let me know your thoughts about affirmative action. You agree with me? DEI must die. Do you agree with Glenn in the beginning, how it's used to minimize black achievement, minorities achievement? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I really like to hear it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.